All right, my wonderful people, thank you for joining us. This one is another one. This is an article written by Soludo of Anambra State. Soludo's article on Obi is shock retreatment. It is meant to wake up Southeast. Okay, Anya Ise of Igbo Foundation, a pan-Igbo group, has called on Southeast leaders to stop condoning an article written by Chukwuma Soludo, Governor of Anambra State, about Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the group urged Igbo leaders to consider the critical messages in the write-up. In an article published on November 14th, Soludo said Obi knows that he can't and won't win 2023 presidential election. Okay, the Anambra governor said that the Labour Party candidate is merely pinching votes from the stronghold of the People's Democratic Party, of course, PDP. Soludo, meanwhile, others saying that if he were Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, say he would even give Obi money as someone heading one of the department of his campaign, because Obi is making Tinubu's pathway to victory much easier by indirectly pulling down PDP. The article had elicited an avalanche of blackmail from stakeholders, particularly in the Southeast. Ohaneze Ndị Igbo Worldwide and the Igbo Socio-Cultural Association had described the article as unreasonable public behavior, adding that it had taken Soludo before two famous divinities and deities. Reacting to the development, Anyase Igbo said the real essence of the Anambra governor's comment was lost in the ensuing uproar. The group added, saying that Soludo's message was not only for Obi but for the Igbo public and intended to wipe the people into the mud to consider the issues that shape their existence and impact their future for decades or even generations to come, with their fortunes and happiness on the line. Meanwhile, these sad commentaries are forcing the real reason and essence of Soludo's intervention to be lost in the shuffle. What is small? The media frenzy, the unguided and reckless narrative are aimed at putting on under two very close, topmost illustrious sons of Igbo people. Even an enemy would agree that Soludo and Peter Obi are part and parcel of Igbo First 11, the group also said. Okay, we believe that Soludo used Peter Obi to draw attention to certain existential conditions which Igbo must put in prospect while taking political decision at the moment. Many have also wondered why Soludo did not reach out to Peter Obi privately, but the message sent out by Soludo was for Peter Obi as it was for the Igbo public. The message expectedly jotted and jarred the people out of their slumber. Some critical messages are best delivered as a shock treatment, as a way of wiping the people into the mud to consider the issues that shape their existence and impact their future for decades or even generations to come, with their fortunes and happiness on the line. Anyase Igbo called on Ohaneze Ndị Igbo to revert its endorsement of Peter Obi as the Igbo candidate, adding that it is a way or highway to nowhere as it did in 2019. Meanwhile, the full statement read in bits. The message released by the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, which he titled History Broken or History Back-Ons and I Will Not Be Silent Part 1, witnessed an eruption of a babel of noise and media frenzy. The overriding assumption out there is that Soludo has an house to grant with Obi. Some have even tampered and pushed the narrative that it is all a tough war, while insinuating that Soludo does not want to become Nigeria president come 2023. These sad commentary and the commentaries are facing the real reason and the essence of Soludo's intervention to be lost in the shovel. What is more, the media freeze, the unguided and reckless narrative are aimed at putting asunder two very close, topmost illustrious sons of Igbo land. Even an enemy would agree that Soludo and Peter Obi are part and parcel of Igbo First 11. Meanwhile, Soludo is particular, is not a regular politician, and may even have grieved for the grief or for the freezing fed up by the disclosure he generated. Soludo remains a versatile and consummate illustrious, one of the few with global acclaim and who has been able to serve as a bridge between theory and practice, qualifying to serve in over a dozen top of the range financial institutions, including the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, even before serving his nation as chief economic advisor, head national planning, and ultimately governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Peter Obi, meanwhile, on the other hand, is equally an accomplished Igbo man in his own right. Though he parades himself as a trader, we all know Obi is as great as they come. He too sits on the board of many companies, including banks. He was the governor of Anambra State and discharged that responsibility credibly. It is such credentials and rare competencies that have made Soludo and Peter Obi to be declared or desired by their people and indeed Nigerians to serve in their invaluable capacities. We are aware that Soludo genuinely wishes Peter Obi well and vice versa. Soludo, meanwhile, does not want the personal relationship he shares with Peter Obi to deter him from seizing this auspicious moment to draw the attention of Peter Obi and Ndibo to some fundamentals that need to be pondered over at this historic moment that the nation is gearing up for the 2023 general elections. We believe that Soludo used Peter Obi to draw attention to certain existential conditions which Ndibo must put in perspective while taking political decisions at this point. Many have also wondered why Soludo did not reach out to Peter Obi privately, but the message sent out by Soludo was for Peter Obi as it was for the Igbo public. The message expectedly jotted and geared the people out of their slumber. Some critical messages are best delivered as a shock treatment, as a way of whipping the people into the mud to consider the issues that shape their existence and impact their future for decades or even generations to come, with their fortune and happiness on the line. Alright, on this basis, Soludo's 30th test on the 2023 election and the Igbo responsibility. All Igbo patriots must have a mindset geared towards what is best for Ndibo. Ndibo thus can ill afford to inflict on themselves the pains of political exclusion by abandoning the diplomatic channels and the political sagacity adopted and deployed by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe that fetched for the old Eastern region powerful exclusion, legislative, judicial, bureaucratic, and the defense position in the First Republic. The approach also secured the East-West and southeast position of the vice president and the speaker of the House of Representatives, of course. Decades after the Civil War, as well as several plumb positions that ensured visibility and full responsibility and the full representation of Igbo in the scheme of things, as well as being the springboard for region-wide development. All Igbo patriots should be extremely worried about the currently regaining Ndibu do or die approach and mentality, which seems to have displaced the time-honored parading of political engagement, consciousness building, and common sense. There is an urgent need to turn away from the politics of self-adulation, uncritical ego chamber, and hard mentality, and reimburse the dialectic of dialogue and robust debate. The fact that Zik led the Igbo-denominated NMPP into an alliance with the Northern-dominated MPN just 9 years after the Civil War that cost us millions of lives for strategic reasons speaks volumes about the political benefit embedded in buying anger and deep pain in the interest of political and practical political necessity. 4 odd years later, the Igbo apparently was off from where the great Zik, and as a spunk off of his political participation, Dim Emeka Ojukwu and Dr. Alex Ekweme plagued us, and it paid off greatly. The message is loud and clear. Strategic alliance pays off since no zone in the country can do it alone. Igbo political actors and their supporters who are hounding and harassing others who hold contrary views in the disgusting and repulsive anti-Igbo ways do not mean well, even for Peter Obi, that Igbo are repugnant and Republican who can never be hundred into nodding their head like lizards to a single political narrative. And that's right from time. Our people have always applied politics of tolerance, accommodation, and agreeing to disagree amicably, where there are historical examples that define this trajectory of Igbo politics. One case is in the First Republic when SG Ikuku of Action Group, a political party led by Chief Obafemi Awolowo, stood for election against his father, Alvan Ikoku of UNIP. The son defeated the father. The young man was not ostracized or killed or had his name taken to deities for opposing the defending his venerated and highly regarded legatory father. That is democracy at its best, and that is the stuff Igbo are made up of. The politics of tolerance played by Zik and other first-generation Igbo politicians were deep and effective, and Zik did not go out of his way to punish one or two of the Agonachot, such as K.O. Mbadiwe, who broke away from the NCNC and formed a new party called the DPNC, Democratic People's National Congress, and went on to field candidate against the NCNC in very many constituencies during the 1959 federal election. Igbo life and political culture allow for an unfettered and unhindered multiplicity of ideas which stem from Igbo Republican nature and practice that was deepened by Igbo fathers like Zik. Igbo with alternative viewpoints should not be branded as enemies, 100 talented, caused and humiliated and ostracized for holding contrary political views and beliefs. To do so would amount to repudiating the silent political ethos on which Igbo democratic culture, pragmatism, values, and life are let life. Okay, on this, it was founded that why Ndibo wants Peter Obi to win, even as a quest for social justice, spiritual wish, and the moral desire and the requirement given the decade of marginalization and abuse in the hands of their compatriots. They have to be realistic about such great expectations, since the fact of the grant may not support such unbridled optimism. Truly, Obi could have easily won if he were flying the PDP or even the APC flag for the same reason of party infrastructure, the greatest of which is having a formidable pool of down-ballot candidates, which Labour Party desperately lacks, rather than examine these precarious electoral circumstances critically and superficially. Peter Obi supporters believe it is not only better to sweep them under the carpet, but also obviously Honda attack, abuse, and debate anybody who dare not to or who sound the alarm early enough. All right, my wonderful people, without wasting much of the time, it has been that it is facial to remind those who say people are the structure of a political party to see the fallacy and is telling consequences as a disaster waiting to happen. Party structure refers to hardcore party members stood rooted in the polling unit and ward who will be ready to take the ballot for the party and the candidate on election day. In other words, what is required asking is, does the Labour Party now have such core party supporters and members and escorts in the other 170,000 polling units and the 80,812 ward of the Federation as the PDP and APC do? Okay, that has been the question so far. Okay, let me have your take on this based without wasting much of your time. Ohaneze Igbo aired by adopting Peter Obi as the Igbo candidate. This is a massive blunder. Ohaneze Igbo should retrace his step and not lead Igbo on the path of political perdition and highway to nowhere as he did in 2019, even when it was cautioned not to. If it retraces his steps, it is still not late for Ohaneze Igbo to lead a progressive Igbo leader to primitively act on the historic duty of strategizing and bargaining, especially with the candidate likely to be president on at least 3 central issues. There is a 3-point agenda on which Igbo leadership should negotiate peace and security, a Southeast economic and public infrastructure Marshall Plan promised at the end of the Civil War and the restructuring. SOLUDO'S intervention is indeed timely. Alright, that has been the matter so far. Well, let me have your take on this matter. Remember to subscribe and then do wait for more updates coming right from this channel. Thanks for your patience and remember to be blessed. Thanks and God bless.